word in my line of work. So I'm going to sidestep the idea of lock because that's a problem to begin with. I would say no. To answer your question, no. And it has nothing to do with Bonza himself. It has to do with the competition he faces for that #1 overall spot. His performance was sensational. His performance throughout the course of the season has been sensational. Everything he did leading up to college was sensational. But he's not the only guy coming out this year with a sensational resume. Acuff, Boozer, Peterson at Kansas. We're going to sit here over the next few months, and it's going to be awesome nitpicking some of the most elite college talent we've seen in quite some time. This is a deep draft class, and it's a fun draft class, and we're going to get to keep watching some of these guys over the next few weeks, hopefully. But in terms of a lock for one of them, like Bonza, to go #1 overall, no chance, just considering the competition he's going up against.
Well, let me say this to you, Joe and Coach. He's not a lock. The answer to that would be no, I agree with you, Joe, but I think he should be. Because let me tell you something. I can't teach 6'8", 6'9" with that kind of athleticism, with that wingspan, with that ball handling ability, that scoring ability. I can't teach that. You know, Darius Acuff, the brother's all-world. We know what he brings to the table. Obviously, Fleming's no joke. You look at Caleb Wilson, he's injured in North Carolina. You know, that's another guy that could easily be 1 or 2 in the draft. If he was healthy right now playing in the NCAA tournament, for all we know, he still may go 1 or 2 in the draft, all right? I certainly would take him before Darian Peterson because the best ability is availability. And automatically, I would definitely take him because of that. Let me also say this, guys. Bonza, if there's one thing other than his 1 for 7 shooting from three-point range last night, that's the one blemish. You know, he still needs to improve his three-point shot, no doubt about that. But here's the biggest blemish that I have. I can say it now. I didn't want to say it before. I was never excited about him going to BYU. Not even a little bit. I was never excited about that. I'm like, look, man, you know, I mean, this cat, Richie Saunders, goes down. He's giving you 18 points a game. I get that. Tears his ACL in February. That definitely hampered their chances, all of this stuff. But here's all y'all need to know. Bonza scored 35 yesterday. The rest of the team scored 36. And, oh, by the way, 4 bench players that they have, 0 points on 1 shot attempt. 0 points on 1 shot attempt from your bench. So you talk about a cat that had to carry the load. It was definitely him. And then not only that, their bench, in terms of bench minutes, bench productivity, they ranked like 308 in the nation at BYU. So, but Bonza's been dealing with this all year. I don't know why the hell he went to BYU personally. It should have been somewhere else. That's just me. That's just me. Having said all of that, 6'8", 6'9", with the skill set that he brings to the table, to me, nobody's a lock. I get it because the talent is too steep and you never know what teams' needs are, etc. But I will tell you this. Stephen A. Smith would draft A.J. Bonza #1 overall. I wouldn't hesitate.
Ability, versatility, accountability. Guy played 40 minutes. And I agree with you, Stephen A. I mean, I respect that he chose BYU for the reasons he did. But you imagine A.J. Bonza surrounded by really good complementary players. I'm not saying BYU's players aren't good, but not the type of players that actually could really make the game any easier for him. Every single team guarded him the same way, or tried to. They loaded up to the ball. They showed bodies. They were physical with him. They tried to take him out of transition. And he made plays. But the problem is when he made plays, the guys on the receiving end were just not good enough. He and Rob Wright were a two-man show when Richie Saunders went out. But his game he's just scratching the surface. That's why I'm so excited about this kid. I mean, 6'9" Tracy McGrady. He put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, and finish. He's a willing passer. You back him down, you double, he's going to make the right play. He's an explosive physical athlete. But the most important thing is the dude loves ball. Like, he loves ball. He plays to the bitter end. He plays every single play. He doesn't want to come out. He lives in the gym. IQ, maturity. All these young guys have an incredible amount of maturity. But this guy right here, with the adversity that he faced, they had to grind their way back into the tournament after Richie Saunders won. Have you ever seen him react in a negative way to anything that's happened to him all season long? He just hoops. I am so impressed with him as the person, the player, the availability, and the versatility. It'd be hard not to take him number one.
Okay. So it sounds like despite what happened in the loss yesterday in the round of 64, he has secured his draft spot. But what about the performances yesterday between him and Darius Acuff Jr., who also went off? Who do you think was more impressive? Coach, I'll go back to you.
Darius Acuff Jr. is on the perfect team, playing for the perfect coach in the perfect system. The ball's in his hands, and he is a savant with the ball in his hands. He makes plays very few people can make. The lob passes he throws, whether it's from half court or dribble penetration, the runners, the different angles he shoots layups, the step back and sidestep threes. To me, I would actually say probably Debanza, just because there's so much on his plate. I mean, yesterday that was a team effort for Arkansas, even though, let's face it, Darius, he's the guy that stirs the drink. But Darius Acuff, we're going to see a lot of him. I mean, I'm going to be interested to see how Arkansas and Darius Acuff's approach is coming into this High Point game. But what Devontae's done the last 4 weeks with no help besides Rob Wright has been spectacular. So I'm going to go slightly A.J. Devontae.
Yeah, he had 9 more points, too. Stephen A., who do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with Devontae because the numbers say so, 35 compared to 24, but in the load that he had to carry in doing so. But I will tell you that Acuff is electrifying. And, the one thing that Cal is exceptional at, not to say that's the only thing, but the one thing he's exceptional at is getting you attention. He's going to get your attention. That's John Calipari. Whether it's a quote, whether it's his tirade on sidelines, whether it's the team he assembles and the talent that he puts on the basketball court, you're going to have eyeballs watching you when you're associated with John Calipari. Make no mistake. So as this NCAA tournament continues to unfold, I'm going to be really, really looking at Acuff and seeing the stiffness of the competition and what kind of show this brother puts on. The one thing about him, Joe, that I like about Acuff, I mean, it doesn't necessarily always look spectacular, but he's a spectacular player, and it's like he lives for the spectacular. He wants it. The A.J. DeBonzas of the world and others, they're models of consistency and whatever, and DeBonza's great. But when I look at an Acuff, no matter what I see, no matter how gifted he is, no matter how special it is, I'm always on the edge of my seat waiting for more because he's always giving me the impression more is coming. And that is where he gets an edge. I think that as we move forward, again, DeBonza's home, and he had to do it by himself because he had nobody show up with him, and I get that part. But I think that as this tournament unfolds and we continue to ask the question about the most impressive performances, I think we're going to find ourselves mentioning Acuff an awful lot.
On top of that, look at his situation. They just won the SEC championship game and then immediately had to turn around, fly from Arkansas to Portland to play an early start time game. That wasn't the easiest of situations, and they went pillar to post against Hawaii. Hawaii was never in it. That said, the answer to whose performance was better yesterday is Devontae, solely because he was going up against a Texas defense that brought a heck of a lot more to the table than Hawaii. No disrespect to Hawaii, but as we parse through these things, the quality of opponent does matter here.
Yeah. Arkansas will face High Point next. Obviously, we will see A.J. Devontae probably at the NBA draft next. Thank you very much. We have some sad news to report this morning. We learned that legendary actor Chuck Norris passed away this morning at the age of 86 after experiencing a, quote, medical emergency earlier this week. Before he was an actor, Norris was a world-famous martial artist, earning black belts in karate, taekwondo, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, among other martial arts. He won titles in multiple disciplines before turning to acting. And so, Stephen A., I know you were invested in this a little bit. What impact do you think Chuck Norris had and where mixed martial arts are today?
Well, just my condolences to his family and the loved ones, because when we think about mixed martial arts, we think about it today because of the UFC. We got to remember where it emanates from. It's like, the true warriors in the profession and the sport. We think about the Gracie brothers and others and stuff like that, but they weren't as popular away from folks who were aficionados about the sport to the mere layman out there who didn't know that much about it. We had Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. That was it. You understand what I'm saying? And seeing them in the movies together was absolutely sensational, and it was great. It was great to see Chuck Norris. The one thing you can never say about him, the only thing you can say negatively about him is that he wasn't Bruce Lee when it came to martial arts in a lot of people's eyes, because Bruce Lee was the creme de la creme. But Chuck Norris was absolutely positively special. And when you talk about a heightened awareness and a heightened interest in martial arts, in America, can't speak about anywhere else, but in America, a lot of people deferred to the popularity and the notoriety of Chuck Norris and what he brought to that specialty. And so because on a day like today, where the UFC is so huge, so big, and we see mixed martial arts and it's constantly bantered about and talked about and whatever, people forget that in the 70s and the 80s and stuff like that, it wasn't about all of that. It was about Chuck Norris. It was about him, and he did a lot more than people realize. So it's sad that he's gone at the age of 86, but we're all grateful for the time that he gave us during his time on Earth. He seemed to be a really, really good guy. He had some good shows that he acted in, but more importantly than anything else, when you thought about martial arts, you thought about Chuck Norris if you were here in the United States of America. Absolutely true.
Chuck Norris celebrated his 86th birthday just